We lived on a creek that is still a running creek. It's not cemented like many creeks in Houston, and it's called Rummel Creek. And we were on the edge of town when we moved there, the very western edge of Houston in the Memorial area. And there was a lot of wildlife back there. In fact, over my childhood, I saw all 4 poisonous snakes there. But what's particularly interesting is there was a girl next door that was a couple years older than me, and she'd found this log cabin in the woods that was inhabited by a lady by the name of Edith Moore. And Edith was definitely an early conservationist, so to speak, and that she lived there by choice. And her husband had passed away a few years before, so she was a widow living out in this log cabin, which seemed out in the middle of nowhere back then, which it was. So we would go over and see her on Saturday morning, and she would give us cookies, but she would also talk about all the birds. She had a bird sanctuary there. So that was probably my first encounter with somebody that we would now call a conservationist today. When she passed away, she dedicated that property to the Audubon Society, and that's now a headquarters for this Edith Moore Bird Sanctuary that is 17 acres in the middle of Houston, Texas. We had a tree fort network in there, and with all my buddies in the neighborhood, and we had a central tree fort and a sycamore tree that was 2 stories that had a lock on the floor, and we would spend the night up in that sycamore tree for 3 or 4 years. We did that, from when we were about 10 till we were 14. It was a really fortunate thing to have in an asphalt and concrete jungle like Houston was and is.